City Chiefs, who right now would not be in the playoffs, yet are still the favorites to win the Super Bowl, Kyle, and 3.5-point favorites to win this game on the road where Denver hasn't lost in a long time.
So Kansas City's still the favorites to win the Super Bowl.
They are.
That's crazy. I try not to pay attention to those like favorites or percentages because as you and I both know, there's a lot of season remaining, particularly when I think about a matchup like this and what's at stake. You know, AFC West, I think it's 10 straight for the Kansas City Chiefs. So
trying to make it 10 straight.
Trying to make it 10 straight here. So for the and you know, let me preface it with this. Mahomes 13-1 career versus Denver. 19-2 in career in road division games. Unbelievable. 21-5 coming off of a loss. Andy Reid 22-4 coming off of a bye week. So you put all those facts together and it tells you that the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes should have some success against the Denver Broncos. But then there's the crowd that's like, well, hold on, that's like overall against Brock Osweiler and the other guys that have played
that's
for
the past.
You know what I'm saying? But then we think about some guys that have historically just dominated football teams, and it's like, well, it doesn't matter who's playing. It's they're playing against the jersey, right? And they're just going to win. But then I'm going to argue back and say Josh Allen had the same type of record against the Miami Dolphins, and just last week we watched that happen. And that shook up the whole AFC. So if you want to continue the aftershocks of the earthquake that happened on the East Coast this past week, it'll be the Denver Broncos finding a way, and I'll tell you the way they're going to do it, to get after the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's going to be taking a page out of the books of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles playbook, which is win with 4 guys at the line of scrimmage, dominate the line of scrimmage. The defensive front has to put Patrick in a chaos chamber every single play. And in addition to winning their one-on-ones, getting to the quarterback, throwing off the rhythm and timing of that offense, they can't get overzealous in their rush lanes. Because when they get overzealous in the rush lanes and try to win maybe inside when they should have been outside, what happens? Patrick Mahomes can leak out the pocket. There's nobody in the history of the National Football League better at creating off of schedule outside the pocket. So those are the two things the Broncos have to do. Collapse the pocket, dominate, win one-on-ones, and when you win in the right spot. Win where your guys know you're going to be, because Patrick is always one step ahead. I just think that this combination of the way that the Broncos can run the football, their ho-hum vanilla style, yawning their way through the first 3 quarters, that wears down a defense as well. So let's talk about the other side. People have been complaining about Bo Nix. Bo Nix doesn't have to go be Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert in this offense. Sean Payton has constructed this team to play bully ball on defense and to run the football effectively on offense. J.K. Dobbins has been awesome. And you know what? The last guy to be this good in a Denver Broncos jersey, he had initials, TD, Terrell Davis. Remember him? 97, 98. 5 yards a carry, bro. I brag on this offensive line for the Denver Broncos all the time, and Pete's always like, well, if they're so good, why isn't Bo Nix? Because he doesn't have to be until he needs to be, which is the fourth quarter. And do you mind pulling up those fourth quarter stats that we were taking a look at earlier?
Yeah, it's
for this
staggering.
Denver Broncos team, because this will tell you the story of the Denver Broncos team. First 3 quarters is swing the hell out of your axe. Defensive front and offensive line, beat the hell out of those guys across from you. It will bust loose like a dam in the fourth quarter, and we flood that freaking field with Broncos. That orange color comes alive in the fourth quarter. I think this matchup will be awesome. And, obviously the X factor is Patrick Mahomes, but the formula for beating the GOAT is to win with 4 guys, play coverage on the back end. We haven't even mentioned the all-pros that are on the back end for this team. And I know that there's an injury there for the Denver Broncos.
Surtain's still out.
Surtain's still out. It's going to be a couple more weeks. But this unit is looking forward to step up. Okay, there's guys that have been sitting behind Surtain that have been looking for an opportunity to step into the spotlight. What better way to make a name for yourself than going against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, who are looking for their 10th straight AFC West? Look, the winner of this game reigns supreme in the AFC West. The loser of this game, if it's the Kansas City Chiefs, they're sitting around 50%, I think, for getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So this is more than just divisional. This is for the playoffs. This is more than just bragging rights here.
It feels like, and it's weird to say this because the Broncos haven't won a division in a long time. It still feels like this game is bigger for the Chiefs because, like you said, their percentage to get in the playoffs right now is decent, around 75%. You lose this game, though, And you've got somewhat of an uphill battle just to get into the thing. Who do you think this game is more important for?
I think this game is more important, obviously, when you're thinking about the playoffs for the Kansas City Chiefs. But when I step back a little bit and go to 30,000 feet, and I think about how important this matchup is in this window with our crew, the NFL Today crew being there, Tony and Jim, this is the game that everybody's going to be watching. And if the Denver Broncos show up and they handle the business defensively, if they can run the ball effectively, if Bo Nix can play that game manager style of football, which I'm not saying there's a problem with, Chris, but if he can do that and the Broncos can handle business against the Chiefs, it'll be...
Ladies and gentlemen of Chiefs Kingdom, this Sunday is not just another game. This Sunday is everything. The Kansas City Chiefs emerge from their bye week with the world watching, their legacy on the line, their identity at stake. They sit at 5-4, a record unbefitting of this franchise, and standing directly in their path are the Denver Broncos, a team rising, a division rival smelling blood, eager to claim the throne the Chiefs have long occupied. But our team is ready. The locker room knows the urgency. The coach knows what's at stake. The players feel it in their bones. Head coach Andy Reid addressed the media after practice, made it clear. They understand. They're focused, locked in, ready to go, ready to get back to work and get better. He revealed that this is exactly the attitude he demanded coming out of the break. The calamity of the first half of the season, the injuries, the inconsistency, the near misses, they are real. But the time for excuses? It's over. The time for action is now. Reid has built something special in Kansas City, and one of the most compelling trends in football is his post-bye week record. 22-4 in his career following the bye. That's not luck. That's preparation. That's experience. That's championship culture. For the Chiefs to rediscover their form, for this season to shift back in their favor, the blueprint is there, and it begins now. Let's talk about where the Chiefs have been and where they must go. The season hasn't gone to plan. Key players were missing, cohesion lacking, the margin for error evaporating. Reports show that the Chiefs played the first 6 games of the season without their top wide receiver, that injuries piled up, and that when the bye arrived, they were still fighting for relevance in a division they've dominated for years. But here's the silver lining. Those missing pieces are returning. The time off was never about pause. It was about recharge, about recalibrate, about rally. The giants of this league do not wait. They strike. Now they go on the road to Denver. They go into an environment charged, hostile, with a Broncos offense and defense eager to prove a point. But I believe the Chiefs go there not just to play, they go to impose, to reclaim, to remind. Because when the pressure is highest, when the stakes are greatest, that's where Kansas City shows up. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes will be the centerpiece of that. He's not just great when the plan works, he's extraordinary when it doesn't. When the pocket collapses, when chaos erupts, Mahomes thrives. The Broncos want to rush for, collapse the pocket, disrupt timing? Fine, let them, because this is fuel for Mahomes. This is where magic happens. Defensive backs better know exactly who they're dealing with. Linebackers better know that when they win up front, Mahomes makes them pay. This is the moment. On the other side, the Chiefs' defense must rise. The run game of the Broncos, the rushers coming off their breaks, the home crowd noise, that's all part of the package. But when Kansas City plays with physicality, speed, discipline, when those front four demand respect and the secondary flies to the football, this defense locks in. It turns games. The bye gave them time to heal, reset, focus. No more excuses, no more hesitation. Kick it into gear, flip the momentum. And what does all of this boil down to? It boils down to the mission to return to dominance, the mission to again claim the AFC West, the mission to silence the doubt, to answer the critics, to remind everyone, yes, the path to the Super Bowl still runs through Kansas City. The timing of this game is perfect. The narrative is stacked. The opportunity, massive. Here's what I'm feeling. Sunday, the Chiefs come out with fire. They come out with purpose. They come out like the team we know they can be. Mahomes drops a few signature plays. The defense forces a turnover when it matters most. The Chiefs win that physical battle in the trenches and impose their will. The comeback is real. The momentum is shifted. The dynasty isn't over. It's reloading. So now I want to hear from you, Chiefs Kingdom. Do you believe the Chiefs will reclaim their top spot in the West? Do you believe Mahomes and Reid will lead this charge and signal to the rest of the NFL, we're still here, we're still the standard? Drop your predictions below. Tell me how confident you are, how ready you are for this ride. Smash that like button if you believe in the red and gold. Subscribe to Chiefs Kingdom Report if you haven't already, because you don't want to miss the reaction, the breakdowns, the highlights to come after. Let's get loud together. Let's show everyone who runs this division. Go Chiefs!